What's up, YouTube? This is Big Mike, and the other day I did a video talking about Floyd Mayweather and how when I read about his demands for a Manny Pacquiao fight, I said to myself, that's it, that's it, that's it. I mean, whatever little bit of support I had given him, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. I remember reading about, man, how Richard Pryor was doing this comedy. He was basically mimicking Bill Cosby and was doing a better Bill Cosby than probably Bill Cosby did. Till one day he looked out to the audience and he saw a bunch of faces that he didn't really want out there. The audience that he really couldn't connect with. And, he was primarily doing this act for the money. You know what I'm saying? He was doing it for the money. He was just doing the blueprint for Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby had been real successful in the 60s. Had his own TV show, I Spy, in the mid-60s. This before Fat Albert and way before the Cosby Show. And, it looked like Richard Pryor was on his way, but he looked out into the audience and he looked within himself and he said, I can't do this anymore. If it was all about the money, lifestyle, and all that, he could have kept on doing something that he really didn't enjoy doing, just to entertain people. But he had to be himself. And I remember he took an exile for 3 years. And he came back, and he was this brilliant, but real, true to himself comedian. And to be honest with you, if Richard Pryor used different material, he may have possibly been a more successful comedian, perhaps on a financial level. Artistically, no, but on a financial level, yeah. Now, I went way into that because, me personally, I despise mediocrity and banality when I see it, particularly when I know something could be so much better. And that's what I see with Floyd Mayweather. See, the thing is, the Floyd Mayweather that I used to see years ago is gone. He's gone. What you guys see now is this media image, this created media image, and you guys been sold this lie for so long that you just believe it, but you can't see what's right in front of you. Just the other day, a friend of mine pointed to me this article about how Floyd was in a little bit of trouble with the Nevada State Athletic Commission and his television show. And they felt like, the material that's been shown on the show just doesn't sit right with us, And Floyd's perspective was this, is that all this stuff is staged. This pot smoking, the brutal fighting and sparring, whatever, all the immoral things supposedly going on. This is just staged, it's entertainment. It's not real. Well, I mean, okay, Floyd, well, how far does it go? I mean, what is reality and fantasy end? I mean, I think your whole career the last few years has been fantasy. All right? That's all I'm saying. That's what a lot of guys have been saying way before. I'm just starting to become a Floyd critic, okay? That's what everybody's been saying about this guy who dares to be critical of Floyd Mayweather, is that the last few years it's been more of a fantasy. His levels opponent really aren't as good. See, This is the game that I could play with you guys, all right? Now, I'm of the opinion that Floyd has fought people who have names, but they were at a stage in their career where they were no longer the fighters that they once were, such as Sugar Shane Mosley. Mosley really hasn't been anywhere near his prime in probably almost a decade. Floyd has fought people who have been media hype. He even said it himself that he builds up fighters for only them to be knocked down later on. You know, he said that about Canelo Alvarez. Now, at the same time, Rocky Marciano fought during his championship reign black fighters. I will say that about Rocky Marciano. You could say how old they were. I'll say this. Judge Joe Walcott was a dangerous fighter. Joe Louis, there's this myth about Joe Louis. Number one, Joe Louis, when he came out of retirement, no, he wasn't the same fighter, but he was a dangerous fighter. And if my history is correct, he was on a 7-fight winning streak when he fought Marciano. And it was a close fight until late in the fight when Rocky started getting the upper hand. Alright. Ezra Charles, who Rocky Marciano beat, twice I believe, was one of the greatest light heavyweight champions of all time. And I mean all time. Some people even consider him the greatest light heavyweight we've ever seen. And Rocky Marciano beat him twice. Archie Moore, alright, was probably the greatest Methuselah fighter we've ever had. Archie dropped him 5 times. Rocky Marciano dropped him 5 times in his last fight of his career. And this is Rocky when he was starting to decline as a fighter. So I could tell you, hell, maybe I have more respect for Rocky Marciano than Floyd Mayweather. Because Floyd was the coast to the end of his career. Rocky took hard fights. Now, you could argue that he fought some bumps during his career. I could see that with Rocky. But the end of his career was anything but a bump in the buff club. So I end this video here to you extreme Floyd fans. Be honest with yourself. Alright? If you think Floyd is so great, if you think he's such a spectacular fighter, then you should want more of him. Look at Ali, who, you guys say isn't as skilled as Floyd, alright? The last 3 fighters that Ali fought at some point in their career were champions. Even Ernie Shavers, the guy who everybody ducked, alright? Everybody ducked Ernie Shavers. Ali went 15 rounds with him, beat him. Alright? And this is Ali when he was just beginning to start to suffer from the early symptoms of Parkinson's syndrome. Floyd Mayweather owes boxing one great fight. And if he doesn't do it, he will never be among the pantheons of fighters